My girlfriend said, "He's so clingy. I had to leave about a family emergency to get space." I replied, "I hope everything is all right with your family." At her parents' house for dinner the next week, I brought flowers, and my new girlfriend, her sister, the one who was supposedly in the hospital, Landon, 34, male, had been with Felicity, 32, for 5 years. Our life in Austin, Texas, was a meticulously staged production of her design. We lived in a rented 2-bedroom apartment in the Independent, the glass tower that locals called the Jenga building. I was an aerospace engineer for a defense contractor, earning a quiet $130,000 a year. Felicity was a lifestyle influencer, her income a fluctuating $80,000, though she projected an image of immense wealth. Our social life was a calendar of her events, product launches, and dinners at places like Commodore, where my role was to be the stable, unassuming background character in her vibrant story. Don't miss the twist. Subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. The opportunity that would change my trajectory arrived on a Tuesday morning via an encrypted email. A private aerospace firm in Boca Chica was offering me a lead engineering role on their new deep space propulsion project. It was a chance to work on technology that could redefine human exploration. The offer was extraordinary, a base salary of $220,000, significant stock options, and the autonomy to build my own research team. It was the work I had dreamed of doing since I was a child. I told Felicity that evening, my voice filled with a passion she rarely heard. I described the challenge, the potential, the chance to be part of something historic. She listened while editing a photo on her phone, her expression a mask of bored indifference. "Boca Chica?" she asked, her nose wrinkling. "It's a dusty strip of land at the end of the world, Landon. There's no scene, no culture." She finally looked at me, her eyes dismissive. "My entire brand is built on the Austin lifestyle. You want me to trade that for your nerdy rocket project in the middle of nowhere?" A few days later, she told me she needed a weekend to get some space. She said her sister, Qley, had a sudden medical emergency, and she had to drive to Dallas to be with her at the hospital. Update 1. I quietly accepted the Boca Chica offer the day after she left for her emergency. Her dismissal of my life's passion was the final data point I needed. Our orbits were no longer aligned. That weekend, while she was supposedly at the hospital, I overheard her talking to a friend on the phone through our apartment's thin walls. She was laughing. "He's so clingy, I had to lie about a family emergency to get space," she said. "I'm actually at a music festival with Ryan." I felt a cold, quiet clarity settle over me. When she sent me a text asking me not to bother her so she could focus on her sister, I replied with practiced concern. "I hope everything is all right with your family." Her lie gave me an opening. I called her sister, Qley, a kind down-to-earth veterinarian who lived in Dallas. "Qley," I began, my voice filled with feigned worry. "Felicity told me you were in the hospital. I just wanted to see if you needed anything." There was a confused silence on the other end of the line. "In the hospital?" Qley replied. "Landon, I'm perfectly fine. I'm at the clinic. I haven't been able to reach Felicity all weekend." In that moment, Qley and I became quiet co-conspirators in the truth. While Felicity was getting space, I was beginning my preparations. I opened a new bank account, started researching property near Boca Chica, and began a series of long, honest conversations with her sister. Update 2. Felicity returned on Sunday evening, performing a convincing role of the exhausted, emotionally drained sister. I let her play it out. The next morning, I made my announcement. "Felicity, I've accepted the engineering position." She looked up from her coffee, her expression shifting from feigned wariness to genuine shock. "You did what?" "After everything we're going through with my family, I did," I confirmed. "I'm moving in 6 weeks. You would abandon me now?" she asked, her voice rising. "When I am dealing with a family crisis. A crisis caused by the stress you're putting on me." As she stood up, her eyes blazing with a self-righteous fury. "This is your choice. You can have your stupid rocket job in the desert, or you can have me. You can't have both." I thought of Qley healthy and working in Dallas. I thought of the music festival. The choice was simple. "I choose my work," I answered. Update 3. The weeks that followed were a masterclass in her manipulative drama. She told our friends that I had selfishly abandoned her, in her time of need, that my ambition had blinded me to her family's suffering. I remained a calm, quiet observer, focusing on the logistics of my departure. I sold my practical Subaru Outback, hired movers to pack only my books and my personal effects, and began the meticulous process of separating our finances. On the day the movers came, she was not there. She was at a healing retreat with her influencer friends, a final, theatrical gesture of her victimhood. I drove my new company, provided Rivian R1S South, the urban sprawl of Austin giving way to the stark, beautiful emptiness of South Texas. My new home was a minimalist, modern house I had purchased near the launch site, a place of quiet focus. The sky was vast and filled with stars. The sound of rocket tests was the soundtrack to my new life, a constant, powerful reminder of what I was building. My quiet conversations with Qley continued, a steady, grounding presence in my new world. Update 4. 6 months in Boca Chica was a period of intense focus and incredible progress. I was leading a team of the most brilliant engineers I had ever met. We successfully tested a new prototype engine, a major milestone for the company and a significant personal achievement for me. The company awarded my team a substantial bonus. My share was $40,000. I used it to begin landscaping my new property, planting native species that could thrive in the coastal climate. One afternoon, I received a text from one of Felicity's old friends. "Hey Landon. We're all so worried about Felicity. She's still so heartbroken about how you left during her sister's health scare." I thought of Felicity's lie, the one she had used to get, space, from a man she called Clingy. The irony was that her lie had created a permanent, unbridgeable space I had no desire to cross. I replied politely, "That was a difficult time. I hope you are well." Update 5. Our company's successful engine test was announced in a major press release. An article in a prominent aerospace journal profiled our team, with my name and new title, Lead Propulsion Engineer, featured prominently. The news rippled through my old social circles. Felicity's emails began that night. "Lead engineer. You let me believe it was a technician's role." One accused. "You deliberately downplayed your success to make me feel guilty." Another claimed. Then came the calls from her friends, their voices now filled with a confused respect. My own family, who had been fed a carefully edited version of events from Felicity, called to say they finally understood. The public, verifiable truth of my achievement was beginning to eclipse her private, manipulative fiction. Update 6. She appeared at my house in Boca Chica a month later. She had driven down unannounced, a desperate pilgrimage to reclaim the life she had discarded. She looked out of place in the rugged landscape, her designer clothes a stark contrast to the surrounding nature. "Landon," she began, her voice soft. "I was wrong. I was afraid." "What were you afraid of, Felicity?" I asked, my voice calm. "I was afraid of this," she said, gesturing vaguely at the launch tower visible in the distance. "It was so different from our life. I see now that it's incredible. I've changed. I can live here. I can be the partner you need." I looked at her, and the memory of her lie about her sister was as clear as the blue Texas sky. "You didn't just lie to our friends, Felicity," I said. "You lied to me." "I was just trying to get some space," she insisted. "It was a white lie." "No," I replied calmly. "It was a choice. And it had consequences." I stepped back inside my house. Goodbye, Felicity. Update 7. Her rejection fueled a final, vindictive act. She began a subtle online campaign, posting vague but pointed stories on her social media about the hidden emotional cost of dating a man with a demanding, isolating career. She framed my focus and my new life as a form of neglect. It was a clumsy, transparent attempt to salvage her victim narrative. I had my lawyer send a single, polite email to her, simply stating that any further defamatory comments would be met with a full and public disclosure of the actual events surrounding our breakup, including the timeline of her family emergency. The posts stopped immediately. Update 8. A year passed. My work was my passion, and my life was full. Qley and I were in a committed, loving relationship. We had spent the year building something real, a connection based on honesty and a shared, quiet understanding of her sister's character. She would visit me in Boca Chica, and I would drive to Dallas. Our lives were beginning to merge in a slow, natural, and beautiful way. One evening, a final email from Felicity arrived. She had lost a major brand partnership, after her online campaign backfired, and some of her followers began to question her authenticity. "I built my life around an image," she wrote, "and I destroyed the only real thing in it. I am sorry." I replied with a short, polite message. "I wish you peace." I blocked her email address. Final update: several months later, I received an invitation from Felicity's parents for a small family dinner. They wanted to clear the air, and they had been led to believe by Felicity that I was the one who had been distant. Qley and I decided it was time. We drove to Dallas together. I walked up to the door of their beautiful Highland Park home, with a bouquet of flowers in one hand and Qley's hand in the other. Felicity opened the door. Her smile of welcome froze on her face when she saw her sister standing next to me. We walked into the living room. Her parents looked confused. "Landon, it's so good to see you," her mother began. "And Qley, honey, what a surprise." Felicity stood in the doorway, silent and pale. "It's so wonderful to see Qley looking so well," I said, my voice calm and pleasant as I handed the flowers to her mother. Felicity was so worried about her after her stay in the hospital last year. We were all very concerned. The silence in the room was absolute. Her father turned to Felicity, his expression a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. "The hospital?" he asked. "When were you in the hospital, Qley?" Qley looked at her sister, her expression not of anger, but of a quiet, profound sadness. Felicity had no words. Her lie, the one she had used to get space, had just been brought into the light in front of the two people she could not manipulate. I reflected on the lesson of the past year. When someone is willing to use a lie about their own family's well-being as a tool for their own convenience, they reveal a fundamental flaw in their character. Felicity had been so afraid of being clingy that she had created a lie that ultimately pushed everyone she loved away. I looked at Qley, my partner, my future, and I knew I had finally found a space that was not empty, but full of truth.